Imagine a world after the bombs have fallen. The landscape you once knew, lush, green and full of life, has been transformed into a wasteland. The familiar patchwork of fields and farms is now a haunting expanse of emptiness, where the echoes of life have faded into silence. The fires are out, but a chilling silence remains. The smoke has drifted away, but the scars on the land are unmistakable. Where there was once the hum of tractors and the laughter of families, there is now only the whisper of the wind through blackened stalks. The great bread baskets, once golden with wheat and corn, are now barren, cold and lifeless. The fields that once fed millions have become deserts of dust and ash, stripped of their promise and potential. The soil is sterile, the air thin and cold, and the sky empty of birds. No seeds will sprout here, no rain will bring relief. The earth itself seems to mourn, unable to recover from the devastation. Barns stand abandoned, animals and people are gone. The structures that once bustled with activity now stand as hollow reminders of a lost way of life. Their doors swinging in the wind, their windows dark. The machinery of food production has stopped, permanently. Tractors rust in the fields, their engines silent, overtaken by weeds. The tools that once brought nourishment now serve as monuments to a vanished era. This is not a bad season. It's a fundamental break in the planet's ability to sustain us. The cycles of planting and harvest have been shattered, replaced by uncertainty and fear. The land, once generous, now offers nothing but emptiness. The real war begins now, the war against starvation as the fields become graveyards. Hunger spreads like a shadow, touching every home, every family. The struggle for survival becomes desperate as hope fades with each passing day. Nuclear weapons' most lethal impact is not the blast, but the slow, creeping death of nuclear famine. It is the silent suffering, the empty stomachs, and the lost generations that truly reveal the horror of what has been unleashed. In the aftermath, it is not just cities that die, but the very heart of our ability to endure. Our fields are dead because photosynthesis, the engine of life, has failed. Soot from burning cities rises into the stratosphere, forming a global shroud that blocks sunlight. Days become dim and cold, the sun is hidden. Without sunlight, plants can't grow. Crops like rice, corn and soy fail everywhere. The world turns brown and grey, not from fire, but from darkness. This is nuclear famine, not just radiation, but the sun itself switched off. Temperatures plunge, growing seasons vanish, and agriculture becomes impossible. The engine of life has stopped. Climate models show the aftermath is catastrophic. The world as we know it would be transformed almost overnight. The land that once fed billions would become unrecognizable. Fields turning to dust, crops withering before harvest, and entire regions rendered barren. And the scale of devastation is difficult to comprehend, but the science is clear. Even a small nuclear war, say between India and Pakistan, could inject millions of tons of soot into the atmosphere, dropping global temperatures and slashing crop yields. The skies would darken as sunlight is blocked, and the air would fill with toxic particles. This isn't just a local disaster. The effects would ripple across continents, disrupting weather patterns and rainfall, and plunging the world into a prolonged nuclear winter. Food reserves would vanish in a year. Up to 2 billion could starve. Supermarkets would empty and food prices would skyrocket. Nations would scramble to secure dwindling supplies, but there simply wouldn't be enough to go around. The most vulnerable, children, the elderly, and the poor, would suffer first and most. A large-scale war between major powers would be apocalyptic. Sunlight cut by up to 80%, temperatures dropping by 7 to 8 degrees. Summer would feel like winter, and growing food would become nearly impossible in most regions. The world's bread baskets would freeze, and harvests would fail year after year. Agriculture would cease for years, over 5 billion would die, not from bombs, but from starvation. Livestock would perish, and famine would sweep across every continent. The collapse of food systems would trigger mass migrations, conflict, and the breakdown of societies. The vast majority would perish slowly, painfully in the years after the war. Survivors would face disease, malnutrition, and despair. Humanitarian aid would be overwhelmed, unable to meet the scale of suffering. These are not guesses. They are the results of robust scientific models. Decades of research, computer simulations, and historical evidence all point to the same grim conclusion. Nuclear war means global famine. Nuclear weapons are weapons of mass starvation. Their true horror isn't just in the blast, but in the slow, relentless hunger that would follow, a catastrophe that would haunt humanity for generations. The collapse spreads beyond crops. Livestock and oceans are devastated too. With no grain, farm animals starve, pastures wither in the cold and dark. A brief glut of meat is followed by total loss of animal protein. The oceans offer no refuge. Soot blocks sunlight, killing phytoplankton, the base of the marine food chain. Marine life collapses, fishing ends. The seas become biological deserts. Rapid cooling and acidification trigger mass extinction in the oceans. Over 3 billion people who rely on seafood lose their last food source. There is no escape from global famine. Our food system is global, intricately woven together by countless ships, planes, and trains moving goods across continents every single day. But in the aftermath of nuclear war, this delicate web is torn apart overnight, leaving the world in chaos and uncertainty. Ports are abandoned, railways twisted and broken, and vital fuel supplies either destroyed or rendered inaccessible. The infrastructure that once kept trade flowing is now in ruins, and the global exchange of food and resources collapses almost instantly. Trucks and ships grind to a halt, unable to move through shattered supply lines. Food sits stranded in warehouses and rots in isolated pockets, while billions of people elsewhere are left with empty shelves and gnawing hunger. Panic spreads as people realize that the food they once took for granted is no longer arriving. Supermarkets are stripped bare within hours, and desperate families search for anything edible among the ruins. Economic and political systems begin to break down. Governments struggle to maintain order, hoarding what little food remains and deploying armed guards to protect dwindling supplies. In the chaos, people fight over rations, and trust in institutions evaporates. Borders slam shut as nations turn inward, desperate to protect their own. International airports and customs checkpoints are deserted, and the global market, once the lifeblood of modern civilization, vanishes almost overnight. Countries that depend on imports, like those in the Middle East, Japan, and South Korea, are hit first and hardest. With no ships arriving and no food on the shelves, millions face immediate starvation, their survival hanging by a thread. There is no more wheat from North America, no more rice from Asia. Each nation is suddenly forced to survive on whatever it can grow within its own borders, under a sunless, ash-filled sky. For most people, that means nothing at all. The world's breadbaskets have gone barren, and the promise of global abundance is replaced by the grim reality of hunger and despair. Nuclear famine is not equal everywhere. Northern breadbaskets freeze, but poorer nations in Africa, the Middle East, and parts of Asia, dependent on imports, are hit hardest and fastest. With no reserves and no trade, famine is swift and absolute. Governments are powerless, panic and collapse follow. The poor suffer most, unable to buy or grow food. Nuclear famine magnifies every existing inequality, preying on the world's most vulnerable. Scarcity shreds the fabric of society. Panic buying and hoarding create instant shortages. Trust evaporates. As supplies run out, violence erupts. Riots, raids, and chaos replace order. Governments and aid organizations collapse. Food distribution becomes impossible. People retreat into small groups, fighting for survival. Civilization's thin veneer is stripped away, replaced by fear, suspicion, and despair. Famine's final chapter is disease. Malnutrition destroys immune systems. Simple infections become deadly. Sanitation fails. Water is contaminated, and epidemics rage unchecked. Children suffer most, wasting, stunted, and dying in vast numbers. A generation grows up in darkness, their future stolen by hunger. The bombs kill millions in minutes. Famine and disease kill billions over years. Nuclear war is not just a conflict, it's a war on humanity itself, ending with empty fields, silent cities, and the slow death of billions.